So, so many individual crimes have happened in Chicago and small. It boils down a very long list. So, again, everything was documented in one form or another. And because of what happened to them, which the veterinary center we saw before, even a decade later. Also, we're gonna witness the unrefuted tampering with evidence that proves that all those crashes on the phone are done by criminals. Now, doesn't change anything like that. You see how cautious I was for since that time. You see all those measures, all the redundancy, all the care. As I kept saying, it isn't unnecessary. It's just basic stuff. So they can destroy some evidence, pretty much. Not the one that they chose to. As recent events prove, they can destroy evidence at random. They cannot destroy certain things that they think they can. Also, they guarantee not to destroy everything, not even enough not to get interest from you. So be advised. You're going to be seeing a lot as of recently, which is why I'm saying this. Today there was unrefuted proof in which I was eyewitness to a file that I just compressed into the folder. And by that time, when they crashed the phone, this phone was just crashed. You know how I kept saying all the time that all those crashes are done by them? And I say that in order they crashed the phone, they did this, they did that. They crashed the phone. Well, bank never ran out of power. Like now. No other thing. It was strictly done by them. And after that, when I loaded it up again, I will show you on the little guy. The small phone filmed the checksum. The file not only was compressed, it was compressed and did the whole checksum check, generated the checksum basically. And I read the number to the file. When I was going to go to the next file, the phone crashed. And when we started, the original file was halfway through and the other one that was halfway through disappeared. The screenshot with the checksum, because it got to the point that they can screenshot it as well, also disappeared, but nothing. It's not the phone. I was going to just transfer the file here. Instead, I was going to show to you the video first and the handles for that. And that's the only thing I'm going to say here. Suffice to say, that's the chicken minutes, and this is even before that. That being said, as of downstairs, after roughly a month, after incidents like when they told me to be charging their phone behind the door over there, as if anyone would do that and stay behind the door, there's this random security guard, same one that talks about promotion being moved downstairs, so you can see a pattern there already. And it's a pattern of deniability, which is why we're going to ask that the same administration, the same place that says that 24 hours is not a day, or a day is less than 24 hours, something crazy like that. And that's why this day is going to be safeguarded, published immediately, much like this, to be sure. Just to prevent the deniability that seems to be set up there. Again, I'm not talking about you being rude, but she's not losing, she's on top of the car. In fact, it's very specific. You saw how much it bothered me, you saw how much I kept saying, all the files Sunday, you see the stress that it was done to make sure that she wouldn't go to the ground. And that's the concept in which is today. Particularly in a day which is already been through so much stress, and you have already someone in a major degree trying to come up with a bunch of bullshit in the veterinarian, not just about price, which is fine. I mean, you can charge a price that's far too expensive, especially for the case. But then, as I was gonna ask about how you set up the details, they came up saying all sorts of things that prove involvement in this, and that's gonna be given to you. Note that at that point the shit phone had stopped recording, just shut that. It was doing all that over, but everything was documented in the little guy as well. So she's gonna listen to that from one to the other, and I think I have a solution to actually get her treated, and also with the easy way or the harder, and the harder way involves you having a very clear picture of what they are, all of them, not just that one random place, but sort of. And as of here, as I said, remember I mentioned everything you see is a small fraction, a small fraction, a small fraction of what actually happens because of the tampering, the shutdowns, all the other things in the between. I actually think this is reminded me of the chip. You actually get a glance, check the criminal, they might have interfered with that. Yeah. Unidentifiable, unfortunately, but it's still a glance to that. And most importantly is that that's indisputable evidence. This is what we call, like, before when we were talking about the tamperings and you see as transfers, but I could argue a bunch of things that they couldn't transfer. This one, there was a file, was fully complete, opened, generated a checksum into, I don't know what that is, we shouldn't be commenting on this, I should ask an expert. And I read it, the final numbers. When I go to the next file, it's really done. And that file disappeared. The screenshot I took about the checksum disappeared as I was also told. That's when it crashed. I'm not talking about just some crash that could go on the lines of, well, it was interrupted and it's not fully finished. We're talking about this level of things. This is why I always remove the battery every time the crash happens. It's gonna know, by the way. I only let it turn on naturally because I knew that it could be not really crashed and stuff like this. We also have explanation for that. And it doesn't matter. On top of that, they didn't even have the cards inside. Again, for what it's worth. All the files are copied. As far as I'm concerned, there's no loss of data. And it shows the irrefutable evidence will be given to you later. Seeing this happening after as well, genuine impression becomes overwhelming with things. Try to make Tanya aware of something. She resolves on the train, trying to overwhelm her with things. She gets hung up on our lane and sidetrack this, notice she didn't call back. Whatever important she had to talk about disappeared the moment I hang up. Again, proving full involvement in the crime, as you would have been. But I was sick and tired of not having anything charged because yesterday, nothing's charged. This phone did not allow me to charge. Every time it comes up to 5 to 6%, it just stays there. And this morning, also filmed, it charged from 0 to 5 in 7 minutes, less than that. It was about 5. And then it goes from, no, it was 7, it's up to 7, it's going to 5. It goes from, I understand like 7 comes up. No, I think it was 5. 7 is there. Charge it up to 5. Yeah, up to 5% in about 5 minutes or so. And then from 5 to 20 in the other one's recording, it goes from 5, as you've seen before, to 7 in 15 minutes. So as I said, the tempering volumes on this phone not charged on the phone. So, and again, reinforcing the thing that I mentioned before about this apparently a hardware issue that was started by this phone forming on the ground. Now being contagious, the hardware defect passing from one device to the other. Not even proximity, just the fact that they became supposedly, they think, a primary phone. So, as I said, that's important. Very good to see. What else? Apart from this, couple hags over there that got up only after I set up to sit down here. They're not doing anything. It was actually quite for me because you received quite a free elderly women sitting, shuffling around a single table, while on the other side have all the 3 tables available, and so there's a eating area essentially. So it's interesting to see. Plus the foods on top, as I said, for later, I'm not the speech still come to this. The electricity is expensive out of phone. Other than that, just some more things, slightly minor weird things in the game, but nothing too big. And that's about it. As I said, that was very good to have that happen as it did. Set up as it did. Matter of fact, I don't think that this phone has connectivity to be able to transfer data. But it was left on. I will turn it off. Mostly because I know everything that is right. And I was obviously going to show to you. I know how it happened by me. As for the security guy talking about shit though, and trying to say the chip was still on top of my car, again, and especially after information also mentioned some health and safety, which, well, again, the drugs in the air and the animals released in the air from everything that they would say they should do, it with making people. Then, like I said, she was useful, right? Remember I mentioned that? I was not thinking of having what's up, but again, we're dealing with it. As for the rest, fire hazards, the sticking things in the bathroom, sewage blowing up from the single thing. The list goes on. Let's just finish one of them. Which is just like definitely mentioned as well. The fires were that list. But the important part of it is not that. As I said, we're going to get the distribution position. And with the officer, they can all assume that's the distribution. After all, several guys have to pass by us. We've been here, we've seen all the animals. And, you know, on the other side alone, we've seen several dogs on the back of the owners. Just like Chip was and mine. Much closer to saving the first 17 days. The car, what she was, and she was not even like acting up. She was barely awake. There was a stalk in front of us. I would have to the stalk in the but only after. And there's a bunch of nonsense. I've been struggling to remember those things. I want to point this out because it happened on this video as well. I'm gonna force myself to. But not yet. I want to see the full picture thing. Because I think I can, and either if I can or if I can't. Same thing as for the, remember I mentioned talking to guys in prison, and the answer really doesn't matter. The answer really doesn't matter. With one hand, I cannot remember, even in general rhymes, being able to say some figures, something like this, with a couple hours ago. That is valid. That's even more shocking. That's even worse for me. Because that's a very information about places, how I memorize checksums. There are like 7 random numbers and letters. And I was struggling to memorize places, which always have the same thing, some numbers and letters. Like 2 letters, a number, letter, number. Or the old one, which is 2 letters and 4 numbers. And so like make sense of that. Right? And inside the bathroom, that's the on that file we have able to me several times memorizing and knowing the checksum and match just out of memory. And as I said, that's a random assortment of letters and numbers that no you have at all. So how it is struggle to memorize plating numbers, that's so simple. So as I said, especially because the checksums are not, they're important, but they're not important to memorize because you get it. As for the, and if it's not, then I'll just describe it to you, and I'll see how much it's short and how much that counts. So either way, the answer doesn't really matter. Even if she now understood, she's being good again. And once the cable gets there, because she's doing she's being an angel. Because she was really touched. Sitting there, again, with the hair, so and we're going to deal with the, I'm quite sure I know what it is. And I'm going to deal with that. And that's the other point. Let's assume that they know what it is. It's not even bad for them to know in that case. It's quite unconscious, to be honest. But it's one of the bad stuff that they have. Very, very good. But as I said, I'm not as much interested as I am interested in all these things. Also, by the way, for the thing, I just noticed now there's way more blood here than it was in the second chapter. So, again, this is that little cut that you saw them doing here. That I showed you that they did in the middle of the night. And another date, we have the 13th of May, between the 13th to the 14th. There's a file that was the ones that had been backed up already, there was a YouTube, the ones that were online, the ones that had been safely backed up, and the ones that they tried to see after zips. Those are the ones. When I said it was for people proof, yep, you refuse to proof. Because it's not a random assortment. There have been many zips that this is the one they got here and then here again. And I say, what is the point? You say, look, the person that didn't look like was particularly sharp, so always consider the possibility that they just missed it. I could tell which group. But ultimately, even if that is a purpose, I don't care. I don't care for the invention. What you see is a file that I was eyewitness was there, and then was deleted. A makeup file was created, put in its place. And there's a lot of also psychological things that happening before, which you would understand as intentions as well. As I said, it's a perfect video. You're going to see that later. I suppose the assumption was that I was just going to speak out in terms of instead. I'm going to move methodically, slowly, and you're going to listen to see. For the things that, so long as you understand what I was, and even ask also what I was, you're going to listen to that. You're going to listen to what happened one day. You're going to listen to what happened in the bathroom. You can see that as well. And we just say everything, so we should take that safe. And we said this was some fashion on traffic around anything. If they hadn't been that always now, that would be a surprise. But remember what I said when they did this to my body? Well, it used to happen in shit country, right? Because as I said that before, the same atrocity we see every day. It's just a fucking average shit. You know they're supposed to think. I want you to pay attention to. So, and as I said these days as well, there's so many things you're going to be kind of clear that they've been targeting her, and they've been noticing targeting her things. And you see today inside the action, and you're going to listen to for the right. And there are some drugs in here like hopefully pushing out drugs, some of the inside the bus. Now they stopped the bus, and instead they went to the midway through the video. Remember I mentioned before as well that you got to witness this thing happen midway through the video.